in spirit today. Okay, so if you could keep him in prayer. He took a fall recently, and so we're working our way through that. Anyway, this is our life, right? Today's message is humble your soul with the Daniel fast. You know, this is a time that to really reach out and become close to God. This is a perfect time. The Daniel fast can prepare you to get closer to God as you humble yourself, because it takes some humbling to do the Daniel fast. How many people would agree with that? All right. Well, fasting is a way to humble yourself in the sight of God. Psalm 35:13 says, this is in the Amplified Classic, "But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I afflicted myself with fasting, and I prayed with head bowed on my breast." This is David pleading his cause before the Lord. David humbled his soul with fasting. That's what the message is today, because it does take an amount of humbling to be able to do the Daniel fast. Find yourself in that place where you are relying on God more fully for strength as you fast. How many of you have experienced a gaining of strength when you do the Daniel fast? Pretty good, about half of you. So that's really good. It's really important that if you prepare your mind before you do the Daniel fast and you start to humble yourself before the Lord, and he is going to help you through this time, because this is a time of worship. It's another form of worship. Fasting and prayer can help you hear God's voice more clearly. Spiritual benefits to fasting and prayer. You can restore the loss of your first love. He is supposed to be our first love. The Daniel fast actually prepares your body to have more intimacy with the Lord. It'll quicken the word of God in your heart. It'll bring truth to you. His truth will just jump off the pages, because as you clean your body, your mind starts to clear as well. And that gives, and when you go to your secret place, you know, that's when you're going to hear that voice more clearly. It enables the Holy Spirit to reveal our true spiritual condition. How many of you feel like your spiritual condition gets weak sometimes? Now, if you don't all raise your hand, there's something wrong. Okay. You know, we go through periods, we go through times. There's circumstances in our lives that distract us. But the Daniel fast is actually like a yearly cleansing that's great for your body, your mind, and your soul. It can transform your prayer life. Hang on one second. You can, it'll channel you for revival to help others, because it's going to be a statement. As people see you go through this, they're going to ask you questions, and you can explain to them how this enables you to understand God clearer. Bible examples. This was kind of fun when I was researching this. You know, seeking wisdom. Paul and Barabbas prayed and fasted for the elders of the churches. And that's what they were doing. They were seeking the wisdom of the Lord. And when you pray and fast, a lot of times in the Bible, that's what it says, pray and fast. Okay, so this is a perfect time at Teshuvah to do this. We do it once a year. Luke 2 tells us the story of an 84-year-old prophetess named Anna. Verse 37 says, she never left the temple, but worshiped night and day, fasting and praying, and this was her expression of love for him. If you treat the fast that way, it's a form of worship. You know, you're gonna find yourself in an elevated spiritual condition. It's also used for protection. Ezra declared a corporate fast and prayer for a safe journey as the Israelites made the 900-mile trek to Jerusalem from Babylon. And that's from Ezra 21:23. Guys, feel free to take notes. I'm going to be sharing a lot of things about the Daniel fast and how to do it, how to prepare for it, and just prepare your minds. and the Father is going to reward you. Okay, the manufacturer's design. We have the DNA of Jesus Christ. We are children of God. And when we start to realize that and respect that fact, it makes a big difference. You know, some people think we came from monkeys. Well, when I hear a person say that, you know, I just remind them there's still monkeys in the world. You know, I'm not made from a monkey. That's all I can say. But if you look at some of these things, you know, like the DNA, it takes, to renew the DNA, it renews itself every 2 months in your body. So as you eat healthier foods, your DNA is actually going to be renewing itself. Your skin replenishes itself in a month. So a lot of times, have you ever seen when you have a sore or something, you see how your skin heals, you put a Band-Aid on it, and it heals very quickly, usually. And that's because of the skin and how it reproduces itself. Your blood circulates itself and rebuilds itself every 4 months. Psalm 139, 13, 14 says, "For you are formed in my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." We have the DNA of Yeshua. Without faithfulness, knowledge, and obedience to his guidelines, we get in trouble. He gave us guidelines right in Genesis. Okay, you have 100 trillion living cells in your body. They reproduce every 300 million cells per minute. Your cells make up your tissue makes up your organs make up your body systems, which is about 9. Your cells are made up of what you eat and drink. So think about what you eat and drink. Not when you're on the Daniel fast, but before. You know, what do you eat? Doritos and hot dogs and all kinds of things, snacks, pizza. You know, none of those things are bad in themselves, really. But if you're eating too much of that stuff, your cells become weakened, okay? And so the cells don't have the power to reproduce healthier cells. The more healthy food you eat, like we try to stick to an 85% living food diet, 15% cooked, which is about 1.5 to 2 cups per day of cooked food. Your cells need oxygen, water, nutrients, waste elimination, freedom from poisons, which there's a lot of those around. There's at least 12 studies which clearly show that the diet influences our DNA in its repair. So the Bible actually gives us, I call them the doctors. There's 8 doctors, but really there's 9. Godly trust, we should trust in the Lord, in our healing, in the food that we eat. We should always be thankful, give him praise. Open air, we have air to breathe. We can't survive without air. Sunshine, this is where you actually get your vitamin D. Proper rest. Many people, they try to survive on 3-4 hours of sleep. I tried to do that last year in Bible school. It does not work very well. But that's another story. Lots of water. Drinking. Do you know a lot of times if your ankles swell, that's the first sign that you're dehydrated. And a lot of times in the hospital, what the doctors do is they cut back on your water when they see that you're retaining water. But it's actually the opposite. You need more water. You know, so if you have to go to the hospital sometime, keep that in mind. Being temperate, that means staying away from the things that you know are harmful to your body. Very simple. And all these things are in Genesis. The Father knew what he was doing. Life-changing habits. These are all God's healing code. Daily exercise. Do something. Find something that you like. And during the Daniel fast, it's even more important because what it's going to do is it's going to energize you, the good food that you're eating, plus that exercise is going to oxygenate your body. So your nutrition is important. The ninth and most important one is Jesus. All right, Jehovah Rapha, he is our healer. Psalm 107:20, he sent his word and healed them and delivered them from our destruction. Do you know that if you can just take one verse in the Bible and apply it to whatever sickness you have, all right, press in that one thing, he sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destruction. It doesn't mean we don't have to use doctors sometimes or, that, but honestly, seek God first. Seek him, and you'd be surprised. And during the Daniel fast, it's even more important to press in. Press in, and God can't lie, right? His Bible is full of promises to us, from Genesis to Revelation. So this is a great time during the Daniel fast to press in, find your favorite scriptures or something that you want from the Lord that you want to see materialize, and claim that verse every single day. Jeremiah 30:17, for I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of your wounds. So another great promise. So why are we so sick? I really miss Dave. Why are we so sick? Chemicals, they're all around us. They're in our cleaning products. They're in our clothes. They're actually in some of our food. You really need to start reading labels, guys. Dehydration is big. People don't drink enough water. How much water are you supposed to drink? A gallon a day? That's good. And it's like half your body weight in ounces, because people weigh different amounts. Malnutrition, you can be eating 3 meals a day and be malnutritioned. So the Daniel fast is a perfect time to turn that switch and start introducing more healthy recipes. I understand there's recipes out in the back that you guys can enjoy this season. Junk food, our spiritual condition. If you have bitterness, fear, anxiety, unforgiveness, all those things can affect your body and your organs. For instance, like high blood pressure is generally fear. Breast cancer is usually unforgiveness. All your organs are connected, and God has made it so that when we don't think right, some of our organs get affected. Inactivity is big. We really have to be physically active. Americans have been duped into believing that we can exist on junk food daily. Most people, I was joking in the meeting that, people will look at our shopping carts, and I generally don't look at people's shopping carts. However, when you go into the store and you look, and there is hardly any living food in people's shopping carts. It's like they shop all the interior aisles in the grocery store. And it doesn't matter whether you've got 1 kid, 8 kids, 10 kids. You don't see living food, And why is it that fruits and vegetables cost so much? You have to really think about that. It shouldn't be that way. But according to the CDC, obesity prevalence from 1999 to 2018 increased 30 to 42%. That's an incredible amount. And you can see it sometimes in our children, different generations. And stress is one of the biggest ones. We have to manage our stress. The Daniel time's a perfect time to reach into God in your secret room and just say, Father, I give it all to you. The whole idea with the Daniel fast is to have purpose. Have a purpose. What do you want to achieve during the Daniel fast? And he will help manage your stress, because we have so many things happening to us. Toxicity, again, it's all around us. Obesity, same thing. Okay, this was a study done in 1940, and it's Francis Pottinger, And what he did is he took 900 cats, divided them into 2 groups, raw food, and 3 groups of cooked food. All right? The first generation of those cats, the first healthy offspring, but prone to disease later in life. The second generation started to show health concern in the middle of their life. The third generation, the illness began in the beginning of life, some dying at birth, problems reproducing, which is about 1/3, almost 1/2 now of our young kids that are having trouble with fertility. And fourth generation did not exist. Think about that in society today. We're following that same pattern because our children are sick. We shouldn't have, God did not create us to be sick, all right? But we live in a world that's fallen, and that's really the problem. Our food is fallen, everything around us. So we need God more than ever in these days. Keeping an alkaline diet, that is an alkaline diet. That is basically the Daniel fast. And look at the color. Look at the color. When you switch to an acidic diet, this is the color you get. You get pretty much brown, tan, gray, charcoal. You know, it's just not as colorful as what God created. And canned goods. Is there any life in canned goods? Is there any life in boxed food? Is there any life in jars? Your orange juice. Once they process everything, it loses its life force. It doesn't mean you don't get vitamins and minerals and things like that, but the raw food is really the best for you, or juicing. Okay, so which looks like your diet? God's Living American diet, we call that the GLAD diet. It's mostly organic if you can. If you can't, that's the second best, is still right out of the garden. Made it with fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, healthy fats. The standard American diet, we call the SAD diet, lots of fat, sugar, highly refined wheat products. Do you ever notice how long bread lasts? They want you to pile up food. Well, you can almost pile it up for a year. I mean, they've got so many preservatives in it. But how many of you have made fresh bread, like challah bread? Okay, so how many ingredients is there? 5, 6? A bread in the supermarket, if you look at the label, sometimes it actually is, maybe 8 inches long, and you can't pronounce half of them. And it will last a very long time. So you get your money's worth, right? I think you should make your own bread and not so much of it once so you don't waste any of it. Okay, dangers of sugar. Well, on the Daniel fast, we don't do sugar, right? So look at some of the things that eating an abundance of sugar can do. It can cause high blood pressure, heart disease, weight gain, kidney stones. Many people don't understand why they get kidney stones. And again, it's because you're not getting the roughage. You're not getting the roughage and the nutrients in your body. Memory problems. That's little Dory the fish. And she goes, I may have a bad memory, but at least I don't have a bad memory. So, there's a, I won't do that. Okay, dementia, fatty liver, and cancers. Different cancers can be caused by the foods that we eat or don't eat. So where is your inflammation? Your inflammation a lot of times comes from the sugar products. It's a high inflammatory. Fasting quiets down your intestinal tract. Even, how the Bible talks about fasting and praying, right? Even when you do it, say you did it once a week, a partial fast. Say you gave up breakfast for two times during the week. Do you know that your body's cells can recreate healthier cells and actually make you feel better and bring down that inflammation? So fasting is really a good practice to get into. I still think the Daniel fast is the best because it's concentrated for 3 weeks. It restores digestion and structured integrity, increases microcirculation to the joints. A lot of times when you have joint problems, your knees don't work quite right or something, fasting is going to help you with that, and God's going to help you as you trust Him to heal you. Enables the release of cellular waste and toxins. You have different waste elimination systems in your body. How many know which ones eliminate? Anybody? Kidneys. Yeah. No kidney stones there. Okay. Each system is designed to work. Do you know a lot of times when you go and you have a particular body part removed, that your other body organs will try to make up for the one that's missing? God has created us in a most amazing way. It increases or triggers immune hypersensitivity. Okay, but we have an enemy, and this enemy has been very strong lately. I don't think I know anyone who doesn't tell me that something is happening in their life, and we can give that little guy credit for it. Discouragement. He is going to try to discourage you about going on the Daniel fast. If you've never done the Daniel fast, I am going to encourage you because it's life-changing. As you learn that discipline and humbling yourself before the Lord and making it a purpose to do this. You want your health back. Maybe you're pressing in for something else. But that enemy is going to come up to you and say things like, remember, he talks up here. And he's going to say, oh, you can't possibly do this. I mean, you don't even know what raw food is. What's raw food? You can't do this, you're too old. You can't do this, you're too sick. Don't listen to him. He's causing division. He tries to divide people. He says this group does this group does that. We're all seeing many divisions out there. It is not the plan of God. Doubt. I don't think I can do this. But God says that you can do all things through Him who strengthens you, right? So we need, every time the enemy lies to you, speak back to him. Step on his head for a while and tell him what the Word says. That's how you defeat the enemy. And he's going to come against a lot of you before you do the Daniel fast and say, I can't give up coffee. No meat? How am I going to live with no meat? He's going to send lies your way. Depression, I think it's said right here, let my people go. Let my people go. He has no power. You have the power. You have the authority to speak over him and to him. And the more we practice that, the better off we are. We're going to march on to the Daniel fast. August 27th to September 17th. I think that is a time to break out the shofars. Right, Bill? And to dance before the Lord. Take this time and spend extra time with the Lord. Dance before Him. Talk to Him. Praise Him. Set up a whole different, whatever you do normally, do a little different and put your whole concentration on the Lord the next 3 weeks. This is perfect. You have a week to prepare before the Daniel fast starts. It helps the body to get back in order, and that is body, mind, and spirit. Physically, so that you're not so controlled by the flesh. How many people think they're controlled by their flesh? Yeah, see, we're being honest, right? Sometimes, that flesh just gets in the way. especially when you go to the grocery store hungry. I'd say that's probably the one time that the flesh gets really strong. Yeah, don't ever do that. The first row there says don't ever do that. It's very true. But that's when all the cravings come because you're hungry. And we'll hunger for the things that really aren't good for us. You want the bag of chips or popcorn or whatever instead of a carrot. But a lot of those cravings are bad habits. We don't need to have those bad habits. And the Daniel fast will help you to overcome some of those bad habits. Fasting builds character and integrity as you crucify your flesh. That's what this really is all about, getting rid of ourself, putting our love on our first love, making sure that God is first in every area of our life. And I take that time every year to do exactly that. That's when I feel like, this is my time to adjust myself. I look at and I pray and ask God, what do I need to change? How can I be better this year? So it's a perfect time to submit and humble ourselves to the Daniel fast. So where do we start? A lot of times, some of you, this may be your very first Daniel fast. The first thing really is to clean out your refrigerator. Some people clean it out regularly. And some people, you look in there and you got strawberries that have this little white crown of splendor on their head. So some people don't clean it out quite often enough. But what this is a representation of cleaning out the leaven, getting all the bread out of your life, which is a representation of sin. So that's what we're doing. We're getting all the sin, take it out of your home. Make a new Daniel fast approved menu. There's recipes out front that's going to help. You can go on Pinterest, and they really have quite a lot of recipes that you might have to tweak one or two ingredients. That's all you have to do is change it. You can substitute one spice for another. And a lot of times that last-minute decision, it makes way for wrong food choices, right? So again, make a plan. Actually plan out your menu, and you will be more successful. It's the same with a goal. If you write it down, you're more apt to do it. But if you don't write it down, everything else clouds our mind, and we tend not to go down the right road. So prayerfully seek God for direction to clean ourselves, our body, our mind, our soul, and ask God for purpose in your Daniel fast. And pray for Israel. Amen. Start introducing and increasing raw veggies to your diet now. The reason why Pastor Nick has me come a week before is because this is a week of preparation. You can start planning your menus. You can start eliminating coffee, for instance, and wean yourself off of it. If you do that over a week's period of time, you won't have the headaches or the withdrawal problems. Start introducing more raw food. When we had the Lifestyle Center, people would come and I'd tell them, prepare your body before you come because you're going to get all raw food here, right? Or mostly raw. And people wouldn't listen to me. So you tend to go through a detox. You can eliminate the detox if you follow these instructions. So, and I'm going to go over that a little bit more as we go along. And get your kids involved. This is my granddaughter in the center. And I get her involved in juicing. I get her involved in preparing the food. Even the Daniel fast. Find recipes online. You can build houses. You can build really cute bunny rabbits all with vegetables. And just show them that vegetables is good. Teach them that, carrots are good for their eyes. Get the children involved. It's really a great way to introduce them to healthier eating. Shop the outside aisles of the market. And we also have a lot of farms, like little private farms around. That's a great place to get vegetables. Sometimes you can get organic, sometimes you can't. And guess what? There's no labels on God's food. There might be where it's from, which is good to know sometimes. What do we mean we have to give up our coffee? I think that's the one area that people struggle the most. Some of y'all have blood type of coffee, because that's all you... You know, Leviticus 17:11 says the life's in the blood, but I know a lot of you guys have coffee in your blood. You know, like, you like big cups and you cannot lie. I don't sing, but, you know. Caffeine is addictive, and giving it up cold turkey can cause you some good-sized headaches. To avoid such drama in your life, we honestly suggest that you start weaning yourself off this week. If you just go down to, if you drink 2 cups a day, go down to 1 3/4 for a couple days, 1 1/2 for a couple days, you know, 1, and just go down a little bit, and you won't have the headaches because your body will readjust, and so will your mind. You know, and there are coffees out there like barley coffees, Ticino. It's spelled Teecchino. And it's a barley malt like coffee, and it actually smells and brews like coffee. There's Roma and Pero, I think it's called. But those are things that you can substitute, okay, without the caffeine in it. How did Moses make his coffee? He brews it, just like your cafe out there. Yeah. And for anyone wondering, it says he brews the coffee, not she. You know, I had to laugh at what Ryan said. I think it was Robert about the perfect wife. You know, you know. So, yep, no, she doesn't do that. It's because of that rib. Okay. Start a garden. I mean, you're not going to be able to get anything in 2 weeks, but it's amazing how fast everything grows. Even the littlest. You could start doing your herbs. A lot of herbs flavor food, especially, you know, when you're doing the Daniel fast. Use the fresh ones. Use the fresh basil, the fresh parsley. You can even juice those kind of things, especially the parsley. I think that's the one thing David misses the most is our garden. Where we live right now, we don't have that big garden. And but someday, we'll get back to it. But it's in canning. How many people have started canning? All these things that we're hearing out there. There's one, couple of you. I'm actually going to start trying to do that myself because the food lasts a long time, and you can do the healthy foods. All right? It's nature's medicine. It's locked in the cells and growing plants and released in the juicing. So God puts all the nutrients into the foods, his foods, not the jars, the bottles, the cans, but into his food. Okay, so the vitamins, the minerals, the micronutrients, all those things are really good for us, and it's locked in and secure in the fruits and vegetables. And you know, like how we have a skin, and the skin protects our organs, it protects everything. Well, it's the same that God did with the plants. The skin of the orange protects the nutrients. You know, the skin of the apple protects the nutrients inside. And when we eat them, you get nutrients from both the outside and the inside on the things that we can eat. There's approximately 1,000 different enzymes in organic vegetables. You would cut that in half if it's not organic. Just to give you an idea. Okay, this is prior to the detox that you will go through when you start the Daniel fast. These are signs of you needing a detox, okay? So constipation, low libido, belly fat, brain fog. If you look at some of these, the memory, unexplained headaches. A lot of people just start with a mild headache. Do you know what's the number one reason people get a headache? Especially right here. Dehydration. So if you get a headache, the first thing you should do, don't run for the aspirin. Go run and drink a bunch of water. And if your headache goes away, you know it's dehydration. Body odor, feeling tired all the time, insomnia, you can't sleep, cravings, fatigue. So a lot of these things, muscle aches, God put these warning symbols into you so that you know that something is off, okay? We don't want something to be off. Things is your colon. The Daniel fast is going to brush clean your colon, because as you eat the roughage, you know, the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, the seeds, we're going to have a healthier colon. The first half of your colon is to reduce the amount of matter by absorbing the water and the needed nutrients. The job of the last half of the colon is to transmit and dispose of the remaining waste in your body. Your body needs two things for this organ to work right, and that is the fiber and water. The more fiber and water that you consume, the better this organ is going to work. This is the ascending colon. This is the transverse colon. This is the descending colon, okay? And then this is the sigmoid. Now, what happens is a lot of people, they don't eat roughage, all right? So what happens, this is a pretty long journey. Anybody know how long it is? That one organ is as tall as you are. And it's all crammed in, well, in the small intestines that are in here. It's all crammed into your body. And it works beautifully when we follow God's design for how to eat. But what happens is if you eat like a mostly cooked food diet, the food's going to start getting trapped. And this is one area that it does, and it can actually sink down. This is the most common area because people don't drink enough water. So what happens is the food gets trapped up here, and then you get these little protrusions, okay, and it will hurt you. The fiber cleanse that we sell, that bottle right there, what that is it's 28 different herbs, and it will help you to brush clean. That's what raw food does. It brush clean the inside of the intestines, and you will be happy. Okay, now there's several, I've not brought this up before, I think, but there's several different things that you can look for to know whether you have a healthy colon or not. Now, if your bowel movements come out like Dairy Queen, that's probably, like chocolate Dairy Queen, that is probably a good sign, okay? Now, if it comes out like little rabbit pellets, you have an issue, okay? So we don't want rabbit pellets, all right? And it's really important to kind of see what's going on. Now, we will put people on carrot juice, and sometimes that turns your waste matter orange. Don't worry about it if that happens. If you tend to juice during your Daniel fast, which we recommend, you're going to see that it will come out in an orange fashion, all right? And that is really good, all right? There's lots of vitamin A in there. We have good bacteria and bad bacteria. Probiotics really help. If you have digestion issues, probiotics are perfect. If digestive enzymes also when you're eating cooked food. Most health professionals believe that all disease starts in the colon. It's the second brain, and the small intestines hold the secret to your health. The internal cleansing organ needs to be kept clean, and that fiber cleanse will help you do that. If you want to do a little dehydration test on yourself, just hold your hand up here, pull your skin up, and the faster it goes down, the better hydrated you are. Now, as you age, we lose some of that elasticity, but still, it should absorb back into your skin. I want to talk to you about detox, because when you change your diet, you will go through some detox, all right? these are some of the things that you may experience. You can be 80 years old and have beautiful skin, and you may start breaking out with acne. Okay, not a good thing, okay? But what it is the toxins are coming out through the skin. Okay, gas and bloating, very common. Headache, you will probably headache. And if you don't give up the coffee before you start the Daniel fast, headache will probably be the first thing that happens to you. Very lethargic. That is the most common thing that people will tell us, that you just get so tired, so fatigued, and it's because your body is suddenly preparing to heal itself. So you're having a healing crisis. I used to tell people if they were detoxing, I go, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, you're on the right track. And they'd look at me and go, yeah. They weren't happy. Heartburn, depending what's going on in your system, you could have some heartburn. Don't you love my cartoon characters? Constipation, do we not look like that? And your emotions. Your emotions can run all over the place. The Proverb 31 woman's going to go right out the window. I'm telling you, because, when you don't feel well, a lot of times people, their moods change, okay? And it really can happen, especially the first week. Other symptoms could be lightheadedness, cold hands, feet, changes in your energy, a coated tongue. Stick your tongue out after a couple days. If it's all white, that means you are detoxing, okay? So you don't have to go to the doctors. It will go past that. You could have bloating. More uncommon would be nausea and vomiting. I mean, those things don't usually happen. But a lot of it can point to candida, like an overgrowth of bad bacteria in your gut, especially if you eat a lot of sugar. Leviticus 17:11, the life is in the blood. I want you to pay attention to this slide. I think it's one of the most important ones. This is what your arteries look like prior to a fatty meal. Okay, but going to this little place right here and consuming that meal, within 1 hour, look what starts to happen. The only living thing in there is lettuce and maybe a tomato, maybe some onion, which is probably cooked onion. About 4 hours, you've got a major highway jam in your arteries. Do you know they have, like, if you go to the hospital, what do they tell you? You have to fast for like 12 hours? This is why. It takes about 12 hours for your body to get back to normal. But look at 6 hours after a meal. When we do a Thanksgiving feast, isn't it, how many people go and they just say, oh man, I got to lay down and sleep. It's not just the tryptophan in the turkey. It's because people overeat. And when you overeat, your cells aren't functioning the way they should. So what happens is, you've got this highway jam going on in your arteries, and it makes you very tired. And it doesn't just have to be hamburgers, French fries, and a shake. It could be any overeating of cooked food. Cooked food usually does this. Raw does not do this to your blood. And that's why we promote eating more raw food in your diet. The Daniel fast is a perfect time to create that atmosphere in your body. There are 2 different types of enzymes. Enzymes are the living life force in the food. So does pizza have generic enzymes in it? No. Does a can of corn have enzymes in it? No, because it's been processed and cooked. Does a raw carrot have enzymes in it? Yes. Lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, all the things that God created have generic enzymes in them. When eaten or juiced, your body converts these enzymes into metabolic enzymes, and those are the ones that are used to run your organs. Excuse me. like your brain, your 9 systems, but you can't make metabolic enzymes out of cooked food because the enzymes have been destroyed in whatever processing is done. So on the Daniel fast, you get creative. You still eat cooked food, but what you do is you start introducing more raw food or juicing. And juicing will help keep you full. Only living, raw, uncooked foods can be converted. That's really important to remember. Your body cannot make metabolic enzymes from junk food, cooked dead food. Living foods are needed daily. That's how God planned it. You know, he said that we're supposed to live out of the garden, okay? And live foods also kill free radicals before they do any damage. So it's another reason to add them into your diet. Metabolic enzymes, they are in the living foods. So there's 2 eating styles, junk food, healthy food. And usually you can pretty much see the difference. You know, the raw foods are going to make your body function the way God made them to function because he created it. He created you. He created the foods. When disease is present, there's a lack of enzymes. So if you have a heart problem, there's a lack of enzymes in your heart. If you have digestive problems, there's a lack of enzymes in your digestive tract. There's a million examples. If you have aneurysms, lack of enzymes. You know, memory problems, lack of enzymes. So again, that's why it's so important to follow God's plan. He did it perfectly. He gave us a roadmap perfectly. Junk foods have no enzymes at all. Most people perceive healthy food as boring. It doesn't have to be boring. You can do so many creative things. We use a dehydrator. We use a juicer. We use a food processor. Because a lot of times, you know, people say, I don't have time. Well, the machines make it easy to have time. You know, just like when you make bread, some people have a machine that actually kneads the bread. You know, God's given us machines. What happens if we deprive our body of the living food enzymes? Think of the living food as deposits into your body's bank account. So every time you eat a carrot, cha-ching, enzymes deposited. Every time you drink a juice, lots of enzymes, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. If you keep eating cooked food only, which a lot of people do, but if you keep eating the cooked food, you're withdrawing from your bank account all the time, and then you start to see sickness come in. So that's really a good thing to keep track of. Okay, fruits and vegetables are your body's cleansers. So if you have colon things going on, that's what you want to do. Is the fruits are going to be your body cleansers. The vegetables are your body builders, and you can build muscle with vegetables. A lot of people don't think so, but you really can because every fruit and vegetable has protein in it. Proverbs 7:1-2 says, "My son, keep my words and treasure up my commandments with you. Keep my commandments and live." And everything that he told us to do for our bodies was in Genesis 1. So it's amazing. I mean, right from the get-go, he tells us what to do, how to best live and fulfill what our purpose is in life. The Daniel fast will strengthen your immune system. Your immune system is equipped with legions of mobile soldiers. They're on duty every minute of every day. They detect and destroy enemies. And when the army is weak, it's because you're not feeding the army the right stuff. So the Daniel fast helps you to build your immune system. Your immune system is what's going to help you not get sick. Now, no COVID, None of these other things that they're throwing at us. So it's important. That's Dave and I in Israel in 2016. If you guys haven't been to Israel, you need to go to Israel. It's life-changing. It was our most amazing vacation. And I did get to carry that gun. I was surprised. I said, man, I wasn't cut out to carry that thing. Okay, I want to talk to you about juicing, because juicing will help you through the Daniel fast. It helps you feel full. When you drink the juices, it actually helps you to feel satisfied. You can juice, we usually juice carrots and then some greens. The greens are going to be very alkalizing. So kale, spinach, we use celery because you get a lot of juice from celery. And then we also do barley max. It's powdered different juices that we have that help you through that process too. And it doesn't take as much time. This is us juicing. And the first thing that little Cadence said was she wanted to know how come we were juicing Olaf's noses. And I thought that was the funniest thing, you know. But teach them about gardening. You know, we have little herbs and spices and stuff along the house, and just teach her about it. And she loves the juicer. She likes seeing all the stuff come out the other end, you know. And but the juicing is really what's going to help sustain you through the Daniel fast. This is what happens. You take all the fiber out. When people think, well, gee, you're taking all the vitamins and minerals out. No, you're not. You lose some of it. But what happens is your body actually absorbs the nutrients. And it goes directly to the cell level because you've taken the fiber out. You are eating a high-fiber diet, so when you add juicing to it, it only helps you more, okay? A typical thing that I would make would be 5 pounds of carrots, one of the large containers of spinach, you know, the Popeye stuff, 1 to 2 bunches of kale, 3 to 4 bunches of celery. That's a pretty normal amount that I make. It'll make 3 to 4 quarts, which is enough for the whole week, unless it's the Plummer family or the Messer family, you know. But 8 ounces at a time, if that's all you need. So once or twice a day is considered a maintenance program. If you're sick, a lot of people will just juice for a period of a week or so, just to reset. It's kind of like a reset. And the Daniel fast is also a reset, all right? We do have powdered ones that you can use. Dehydrated barley and alfalfa greens. And by the way, this is gluten-free. A lot of people ask us that. But gluten is not in this kind of barley. It's in the grain, okay? There's no sugars. It's organic. It's a superfood. And during the Daniel fast, it's really a good time to do that because the cells that I talked about that duplicate at 300 million a minute, when you juice, you're putting all that nutrient into your body and it's going to reproduce healthier cells. Blended foods. This is when you use the Vitamix or a blender. The blended food still has the fiber in it, so it has to go through digestion. Juicing, it doesn't have to go through the digestion. So it's a great way. When you don't feel good, you know, some people will say, well, I want to do a water fast. You know, well, unless God tells you to do a water fast, I personally do not think it's healthy. If God tells you to do it, that's when He'll protect you. But if you do a juice fast, you're building at the same time you're fasting. And if you get God involved, which you should, you know, then He's going to protect you during that time, and He's going to build your body back up, build your immune system back up. When you juice, you get about 92% of the nutrients. When you blend, you only get 32. So there's a big difference because when you blend, it has to go through digestion. All right, so this is what you can kind of expect. Week 1, you may not feel good. If you take my advice and start now to prepare, you will feel a whole lot better when you start the Daniel fast. If you don't and you eat the way you normally eat and go into the Daniel fast, you may receive some detox symptoms. You might not feel well, might get a headache, you feel overtired, sleepy. The first week sometimes it can be rough, especially if you don't give up coffee. Wean yourself off the coffee. But all these different things can happen. Week 2 is amazing. When people used to come to our center, we had a lifestyle center, which was like a bed and breakfast for health, and people used to live with us, and they would come for 5 days or 10 days, and we would see in 2 or 3 days, we would start to see people going, I can't believe how good I feel. And they knew all we did was change the diet. All right? So you Beit Tehilians are going to start to feel fantastic. The big question is, you feel so good, right? But then what happens on the 3rd week? We can't wait to go back to Egypt, and that's pretty common, But anyway, you're just going to feel really healthy, whether you're young or old. Now, if you are really sick or under a doctor's care, I would be more careful. And just if you need to call and ask some advice, we'll be glad to give it to you. But most of you in here should be able to do this with no problem at all. The only reason I say that is because sometimes if you don't eat any raw food at all, the detox can be too hard on a person that's sick. So that's the only reason I bring it up. Most of you, I don't think I know anybody in here that is that sick. So most of you can do this. And God will bless you for humbling yourself to do this. Absolutely. You're going to see that your digestion's better. You're going to see that your colon is working the way it's supposed to. Symptoms, you might have certain symptoms. A good little exercise to do is to write down all the symptoms that you have, whatever's going on in your body, and watch them disappear during the Daniel fast. Usually by week 2, you will see a difference. You'll start dropping weight. Your belly bloat might go down. You might actually be a little more joyful. Proverbs 31 woman, she's going to come alive. And do this with thankfulness. To humble ourselves, to be thankful, to really press into God this year. The times are really rough out there. We're all under attack like we've never seen before, I believe. But God is the answer. No matter what we're going through, He is always the answer. And I think this Daniel fast is the best thing that we can do for ourselves to make us get over whatever hump we have in front of us. Week 3, that's when everybody likes to, fantasize about going back to what we missed. You can still go back. I mean, coffee, there are good elements to coffee, by the way. So it's not that it's bad for you. It's just a discipline. This is the whole discipline with the Lord. A lot of you, though, are going to be like, I can't wait for this fast to be over. I can't wait to go eat a steak. So why are we have to really analyze ourselves on why we're so excited to get back to some of the things that really didn't make us feel well. So I like to challenge everybody every year to start introducing more healthy foods into your regular routine. And then, you know what? When the Daniel fast comes, it's not hard. There's several people in this room that eat pretty much like this. And so what happens is this isn't a challenge. So for me, what I try to do is I try to eat all raw every year. That's what my challenge is because we pretty much eat this way. So why are we so excited? We should ask ourselves, why are we so excited to go back to Egypt? in our old habits. The Israelites did not want God's provision of manna, remember? They wanted to go back to the king's food in Egypt. And I think it's really interesting that, God says, oh, you're sick of manna? You want me? And so what did he do? He rained down quail, knee deep. I think that's really funny why he overdid it. But he says, okay, you want me? I'm just going to rain down all this quail. But they had stipulations with the meat. They couldn't eat it. They had to finish it all in one day. But you know what? There was no sickness in the first part of the Bible. When people were on we call it like the Genesis 1:29 diet, there was no sickness. After meat was introduced is when we see sickness. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't eat meat, okay? God gave us rules for eating meat. But I think what happens is we've gone so far from what he originally said would best work in our body. So the Torah gives us the food instructions in Genesis 1:29, if you want to look it up. It's really good. So our body or physical fasting benefits. We're going to detox our body through this Daniel fast. It's going to boost your immune system so you'll be less likely to get sick. Lower your triglycerides and cholesterol. A lot of times if you go to the doctors and get blood work, I used to challenge people that came to the center to go get their blood work and then do this for 30 days and go get your blood work again. Your blood work will change. Leviticus 17:11, the life is in the blood. When you do that, your body is going to react very quickly. Your cells are reproducing at 300 million a minute. You will notice that your sugar cravings are going to go down. Once you give up sugar, it's amazing. At first, you think you're going to die without sugar. Okay? But it actually that craving goes away. You'll notice your blood pressure coming down. It fights infection. So there's so many good reasons to introduce this fast in your life every year, or even more. The spiritual fasting with a purpose. Create a purpose for you doing this, not just to clean your body and everything, but something between just you and the Lord. Whatever it is, it might be you want to get rid of a habit. It could be that you want to have more time with Him. Set aside a certain time to go into your secret place. It causes you to rely on God. It's hard to do things in our own strength. But if you rely on God and you're prayerfully going to Him and saying, help me with this fast. I've never done this before. Help me. Show me what to eat. He's going to come to your rescue. He's our white knight in shining armor. He gives power to our prayers. When we humble ourselves to go before the Lord and ask Him, the power is enabled when we go to Him. But if we just do it in our own power, we don't have any. He's the one with the power. It helps us to be fulfilled and give us more of the fruits of the Spirit. We'll have more joy, more peace, more self-control. That little last one, self-control. But when we involve God in it, He's the one that allows us to have that self-control, to have all those fruits that make it easier for our spouses to live with us. It renews our appreciation for God and His blessings. Every step that we take towards God, He gives us 10 more. That's just it's probably not true math, but He does. He gives us more back. When we sacrifice time, He gives us more time. When we sacrifice our food, he is going to enable your body to work better and all your organs that he created. Fasting releases God's supernatural power. It creates an environment for signs, wonders, and miracles. You know, that's where the power is. He's the power source. It's kind of like having a plug, and if you don't plug it into the wall, you don't have electricity, right? Well, it's the same with the Lord. If we don't plug into him, we get shortchanged with power. He is the one that supplies our every need. If you need God, it says give up food, trusting that God to fill you with his nourishment. It really, you know, I think, Carolyn, one time you said, I don't remember the context of the conversation, but you went, yum, yum, yum. And I never forgot what she said. And that's really what it's like, because you go to him with your need, and he is going to fulfill you. And you're going to say, yum, yum, yum. Taste and see the Lord is good. Focus and hear God's voice. You will hear God's voice. I guarantee you, if you humble yourself and do this, you will hear God's voice in a new, profound way. Instead of eating, feast on God's word and listen. Do you know that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth? I think there was a purpose. You know, two ears to listen. Incline your ear and listen. You know, that's what he asks us to do. Fasting purifies and strengthens your soul. When your spirit man is strong, you tell your mind and your body what to do and to conform. So build up your spirit man. Pray in tongues. If you're baptized in the Holy Spirit, pray in tongues first, okay, before every meal. And watch what he does. You raise up your spirit man, and your spirit man, when the enemy comes against you with all these things, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, he's a liar. He does not belong in our life, but he's awful. So he tends to tell your mind that you can't do something. But no, we can do it. And so as you build your spirit man, you're going to notice that you have more control. You tell him, no, you're a liar. And then quote scripture to him and remind him of how he's already defeated. So 1 Samuel 25:6, long life I give to you, good health to you and your household, and good health to all that's yours. That's your children, your future generations. You know, when you set the example for your kids, you know, we raise up our next generation, right? Well, we have to be that example. The Israelites didn't leave such a good example in the wilderness for the next generation. But we have that capability to help our people to live better lives and to live godly lives. Jeremiah 6:16, stand by the roads and look and ask for the ancient paths, where the good way is, and walk in it, and you will find rest for your soul. You know, the more we press in, the more that we ask God to help us, he is going to help. He's going to make this a joy. This is joyful. This is a time you humble yourself, and he is going to restore joy into your life. Even if you're going through circumstances, you can still be joyful. You know, many people, they use that, any distraction in their life, and they lose that happiness. Don't lose the happiness. You know, it's because as we show the enemy that, you know, it's not going to affect us, you know, we're going to be stronger. We're going to be the victor. Deuteronomy 30:19, I have set before you life and death. Choose life, that thou and thy seed may live. This diet is going to deplete you from nutrition, from your health. The more of this that you introduce into your life is going to nourish you. So live the humble life in the next 3 weeks, and I think you're going to see that This is going to be the most successful Daniel fast you've ever done. Amen. First, 2 Chronicles 15:7, be strong and do not give up. So many people, they give up too fast. You know, it's too hard, it's too this. Don't give up. Just strive and ask God to help you through this, and He will. And you will be rewarded for your humbleness and for your due diligence in doing this. It's lifestyle changes. Just learn how to be free, and God's going to meet you wherever you are. Thank you very much. I'll take questions. Anybody have questions? Yes, sir.
Let me ask it in a different way. Would intermittent fasting be something that can be part of this?
I do intermittent fasting. A lot of times I'll choose to either give up breakfasts or I'll eat certain times of the day. Maybe I won't eat until 1 o'clock in the day. You know, so I'll fast from the night all the way to 1 o'clock. And I'll do it periodically because I know that the minute we eat something, you go into a digestion mode. And that takes quite a few hours to process. So as we do intermittent fasting, what happens is your body gets to relax, like all night long. If you eat, say, 6 o'clock at night, you basically are fasting all the way till 6, 7 in the morning. And that's a normal fasting time. But when you throw in the intermittent ones, it's going to help your body because you rest longer. So that means the healing process is longer. Does that answer your question? And juicing, by the way, when you juice and the juice is properly done, or you do the powdered ones that we have, what happens is it doesn't have to go through digestion, so you're still fasting. You see, but you're also building your nutrients at the same time. Okay? Up here?
What about decaf?
What about what?
Decaffeinated coffee.
Decaf, it still has caffeine in it. So during the Daniel, yeah, it is, and it's bleached. So, you know, the better thing would be to go to the other kind of coffees out there, the Ticino. They're barley coffees, and you can brew them, or they have granules that you can just make instant. But if you like the smell of the brewed coffee in the morning, I like to use the Ticino aroma because it smells like regular coffee, and it doesn't taste exactly the same, but it's kind of satisfying through the Daniel fast. Okay? And most of your health foods stores will have that.
I know we don't have dairy on the Daniel fast. What about almond milk?
I didn't hear you.
I know we don't have dairy on the Daniel fast, but what about almond milk?
Oh, almond milk. I personally use it. Almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk. There's several different ones that I think are approved. And they make great smoothies. So like I'll usually, with a smoothie, that's a great way to have breakfast in the morning if you're just at a loss, you don't know what to have. Take 1 cup of milk, right, and then add maybe a half a banana, some fruit, and I always add greens. So if you add like spinach, kale, without the stem, because it's bitter, something like that, it's great. Our little KK, she has smoothies quite often in the morning, and it fills you up, okay? So, and it's healthy for you. And there is fiber in it. Over here? Yes.
This question is for the Daniel fast, but also all year long.
Okay.
How do you feel about frozen vegetables that don't have additives? Like, could you defrost them and not cook them? Like broccoli, because it cuts out a lot of the prep when you have the vegetables frozen, they're already prepped.
Right. You only lose about 2 to 5% of the nutrients when you freeze them. Now, if it's already pre-packaged frozen, you lose a little bit more. But if you freeze them yourself, like I take onions, and I'll cut up the onions, and if I have any left over, I put them in the freezer. Okay, so that I'm not wasting anything. But you still get nutrients. It would be fresh, and then next would be frozen, and then next would be, well, dehydrated would be higher up there.
I got two questions. One's in reference to juice. They are both in reference to juicing. When you're juicing and you got all that bulk,
Yep.
the pulp or whatever you want to call it, you just throw that away, or can it be used?
If you want to get creative, you can make a pie. I'll send you a recipe. You can make like a pie crust. You can make a carrot cake. You can put some of it in your salad. I
That's what I was
personally,
going to ask. Can it be used in salad or something?
I don't do it very often because to me, we end up with so much pulp that you don't really like that same flavor all the time.
Right.
But if you're one of those that really doesn't like to waste anything, you could make muffins. You could take, however you're making your muffins, they have coconut flour. I think that would be okay on the Daniel fast. You have to look at the ingredients. But you could take a half a cup of it and put it into the batter. But most of the time, I just gotta get rid of it or feed it to the animals. You know, you have dogs. We used to have cows next door. We used to give all the cows all of our pulp and everything, and it was good for them too. But it's there are different things that you can use it for like that, to add it to another recipe. Soups. You can put it in, I'll make a vegetable stew, and I will sometimes put it in. I put it in spaghetti sauce. Okay, so there are different things you can use, and you can freeze it. So if you really want to use it, put it in like 1 cup at a time, freezer bags.
The second question is in reference to juicing also. You're talking about frozen, but if you buy from like Costco or places these bags of vegetables that are frozen,
Yeah?
would they be equivalent to the fresh or not?
No.
No.
You lose about 2 to 5% of the nutrients, but it's still second best.
Okay.
You know, I still use that. The one thing I don't use canned vegetables. There's like nothing nutrient-wise in it. So it's, you know, that's at the bottom of my choices. You know. I was going to say, a lot of people will drink the, I think Boathouse is one of the ones. It's carrot juice already made. It's okay. It's got nutrients in it, but it doesn't have the enzymes, okay, because it's a processed food. I still will drink it from time to time. You know, if I get lazy and don't juice that week, I might do it. But it's, you know, it's still better. The more we stick to Genesis that God made without the processing, the better the food. Okay? Yes?
About the alternatives to coffee.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get, how do you spell that and where do you get it?
Teeee, Cchino, Ticino. And you can get it at probably Amazon too. Any health food store basically should have it. I know Whole Foods has it, Whole Paycheck.
She asked if Publix has it.
Huh?
Publix? Does Publix sell it?
I don't think so. They have Roma and Para. They have those. Chuck's might have it. Yeah, and Sprouts might have it. Yeah. Okay.
I don't drink coffee, but I drink tea.
Tea.
Different kind of teas. So is it that also
If
not
it
allowed?
has, I believe on the Daniel fast, if it has caffeine, you're supposed to abstain from it. So see if it's just an herbal tea,
Okay.
no caffeine.
Okay, thank you.
And that's good too, because we like the hot drinks, you know. Anybody out over there? Is that you, Mary? These lights are deceiving.
Yeah, about breakfast, you gave an example already
Okay.
with the smoothie. But with the bananas, I heard recently to buy the green bananas because the yellow ones are full of sugar. Buy the green ones and peel them all and put them in a freezer bag, freeze them, and take them out when you need them.
I don't put the peel in the freezer.
I know. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You peel them. Take
Right.
the peelings off, even if you have to do it with a knife, if they're hard.
Yeah.
And then that's what I did, so that it doesn't turn to sugar.
The thing with the sugar, the riper the fruit, and this goes not just bananas, it's any fruit. If it's overripe and everything, it's going to turn to sugar faster in your system. So like with bananas, I usually in a smoothie, I only use a half a banana to make my smoothie. And the smoothie is like a 16 ounce is what I would usually make.
That means if it was overly ripe, you're only going to use a half of one.
No,
But if you get the ones that aren't ripe, then you can use more. Is that what you're saying?
If that's your desire, yeah. But I mean, there is truth to it that if it's more ripe, it is going to affect your sugar.
Okay.
Did I answer that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Is anybody okay, back here? He's getting his exercise today.
I just have a really, really quick question, and
Okay.
it's going to sound silly, but you're the expert. I have been told several times that carrots have a lot of sugar in them. Should we limit the carrot content and concentrate on the other vegetables, or should we just go whole hog with the carrots?
That's a great question. That's not a silly question. I should have brought it up. If you have blood sugar issues, or if you have been diagnosed with diabetes or anything like that, or if you just want to cut down the assimilation, what you do is you put in a teaspoon of flax oil into the juice, and what that will do is it will make it go through your digestive system a lot slower, and it won't spike your sugar. And it was really interesting when we would have diabetics come to the center. They would tell me, my doctor says I can't have carrot juice, right? And I said, just trust me, you can. And I'd put a teaspoon of the flax oil in there, which is a good omega-3, which we all need. And within 3 days, even people that were on insulin had to reduce their insulin within 3 days. Okay, so what it does, because it's helping your whole body, your immune system work better, everything starts to work better, and even your blood sugar starts to come down to normal rates. Most people that we worked with, within 30 days, they were off insulin. Yeah, 30 days. Your body will completely change. And that's why I say if you go and get your blood work done and then do a Daniel fast type detox, you're going to see amazing things. And the juicing will help you get there faster.
Yes,
we got one more question.
Yeah, I had a question. You recommend gradually getting to the no caffeine, like weaning off of it the week leading into the Daniel fast. I'm curious, after 3 weeks of no caffeine and other restrictions, if you have a ramping back up or a reintegration recommendation. Like, do you just, all right, I did 21 days, I'm awesome, let's go to the buffet.
Sweet tomatoes closed.
I assume logically that that's not going to be a healthy experience or a great following 22nd today choice. So I'm curious what your reintegration best practices are if you reintegrate in specific order of meat, fish, chicken, red meat, or ramp back up into the full caffeine habit, or
you should.
If the Lord doesn't intervene and redeem me of that 3 cup a day.
You shouldn't go whole hog into a big binge, okay? But you got to remember you're eating real food, And when you start introducing some of the favorite things that we all eat, do it more slowly, in reverse weaning, okay, so to speak. But I mean, you shouldn't really have a problem if you're going to go back and eat a piece of meat. A person that would have a problem would be somebody that hadn't eaten meat for 15 years and then they ate it. They would get very sick, okay, because their whole system is not will work that way. But on the Daniel fast, you're only talking 3 weeks. So you can go back and have a piece of salmon, I would eat small portions. And the whole thing, for David and I, the whole thing is if you just introduce more raw foods into your life, more smoothies, more juicing, your life and your health will benefit from it. Okay? So I thank every one of you. It's just good to be here. Oh, one more.
Hi. What do you think about plant-based supplements and their effective rate compared to, opposed to eating foods raw, as you were teaching earlier?
Right. I believe in supplements. We sell certain ones that we stand behind. With today's food, even the organics, we need supplementation. We have to eat. We can't sit there and eat 20 pounds of carrots to get the supplements that we need, the vitamins, the minerals, and stuff. So we do believe. Are
they significantly less effective as opposed to eating foods raw? Maybe the processing that they go through.
You got to remember, when you're eating the raw foods, it's going through digestion.
Right.
So it takes, you only get like 30% of the nutrients, 32. When you juice the same stuff, what happens is you get about 92, and it doesn't have to go through digestion. It goes directly to the cell level. So like the powdered ones that we sell, there are others out there, but ours have the enzymes in it. Some of the other ones do not. Okay, so we're enzyme focused. A lot of people are calorie focused. We're enzyme focused because that's where your body grows.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Love you guys. Dave sends his love too, and we'll see you soon.